All right, what I'm going to show you today is how to Krausen or Gyle. It's a different method of priming instead of using sugar or DME. They're very similar. Actually, they're identical with one difference. This is the same wort that we when I brewed this beer a few weeks ago. I kept a little bit of wort out, didn't ferment it. No yeast. If you accidentally put yeast in it, it's not the end of the world. Put it in the freezer. That'll kill the yeast. What I usually do is I stick this in the refrigerator. You could store it in the freezer. You just want to make sure that it's completely defrosted before you do this. So you want to know the difference of the final gravity on your beer and the original gravity on your Krausen or your Gyle. The difference between Krausen and Gyle is you just take the straight wort and figure out the difference of the gravities, and you add a certain amount, so many cups or ounces or whatever, to your beer when you bottle. With Krausening, you're actually adding some yeast to the wort so that it's actually working when you put it in. So I'm going to pull a little yeast off of my the steamer I got going here, put it in the bottom there, and then I'm going to set that aside until tomorrow. Give it about 12 hours until it starts Krausening, and then you take your gravity readings at that point, because you're going to lose gravity on this. So it's going to your original gravity on the Krausen is going to be lower than if you do the Gyle, so you're going to need more of it. Usually, if you're doing a 5-gallon batch, half a gallon is more than enough. If you're doing a 10-gallon batch, a gallon is plenty. I will have leftovers, even Krausening. If you're a little light, you might want to go with the Gyle method because you don't need as much. Or if you forget to put the yeast in, that's, so I've done that a few times. So, all right, and don't forget this. We're working with finished beer here, finished wort. So you don't want to contaminate it. So make sure everything you're using is sterilized or sanitized. Got this airlock off of here. I'm just going to throw it in my sanitizer while I'm doing this. And I'm going to pull the little knobby off the bottom of my racking cane, because I actually, in this situation, want to get the yeast off the bottom. Usually you're trying to avoid getting the sediment off the bottom. And I don't need a heck of a lot. Just need just a little bit. That's enough. Come on, that's enough. Get out of there. Make sure you put your airlock back on. It doesn't hurt to put an airlock on the Krausen too, but as long as you don't put your lid on too tight, it shouldn't blow up. You're going to use it tomorrow, so it should start working pretty quick. You can actually shake this up a little bit, aerate it a little at this point, because you're still, it's fresh yeast, and you want to basically build the numbers of the yeast up. It's not a problem to aerate this. You don't want to aerate the beer though. Got all my stuff together here. It's all sanitized. I've spent about a half an hour sanitizing everything. We're going to take the beer out of these 3 carboys. Basically, I split it up. I ended up with about almost 12 gallons of beer when I put them into the primaries, and I didn't use an ale pail, so I just kind of split it up, left plenty of headroom in the carboys, and just left them in there for 3 weeks. This here's the Krausen I started yesterday. You can kind of see the Krausen on top there, so the foam on top. So we're going to be using that. First thing is I'm going to put this all into my bottling bucket, mix all 3 carboys together, kind of blend the beer, make sure that if one's a little higher gravity, one's a little more alcoholic, that they're kind of all the same. So when I drink them, they all taste the same. I'm going to do probably 2 full kegs, or close to 2 full kegs, and I got some bottles set up for the extra. I'm out of beer, so I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to force carbonate it, so it's not going to be entered into my calculations. Which means I probably have way more Krausen here than I need, because I'm going to take 5 gallons and force carb it, and the rest will be primed and naturally carbonated. It takes a little longer that way. Personally, I think it tastes a lot better. If you prime it, it actually conditions a little further than if you just force carb it, and gives you a better quality product, but I'm thirsty. So, alright, let's get this started. Just gonna don't worry about that anymore. Stick this little fellow in there. Get my bottling bucket, a couple of pumps, and as per always, we really want to avoid getting too much oxygen into the beer at this point. Okay, I've got everything in my bottling bucket now. Looks about like 10.5 gallons. I checked my paperwork. I had 11 3/4 go into the fermenters. So I lost a gallon and a quarter to sediment, which is perfectly acceptable. And what I'm going to do, now that I've got everything mixed together, I'm going to take a gravity reading. And like I said, I'm going to throw some into this here keg. I'm thinking I'm going to stick about 3 gallons in here. And then I'm going to do my other keg, do my bottles, and then whatever's left over, I'm going to top this keg off with that. So I don't want too much unfermented sugar in this keg, but a little bit's not going to bother me too much. I'm going to call it 8. We're at about 8. So started out at 46 after it was temperature corrected. So yeah, we're in the neighborhood of 5. Now, we'll take a gravity reading on this, and I know, and actually temperature correct that, it's probably actually closer to 9. It's usually about 68 degrees in here. We'll take a gravity reading on that before we finish, and we'll see actually how much it's gone down just a day. So this is our Gyle. I'm going to take a gravity reading here. See where it gets us. It's called Krausen at this point. It's not a Gyle anymore. It has a little foamy, so we'll have to let that settle out before we take a good reading on it. Okay, folks. This is the brewer's friend calculator I was talking about. Now, you know, whatever your brewing software is, I'm sure they've got something similar. This is for you can use for Gyling or Krausening, and we're going to do now. I've kept it back 7.5 gallons, and I'm going to have my target CO2 level at 2. You can usually go anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 depending on the style of beer. I just usually use 2 right across the board. Some are even lower than that. Bottling temperature 68 degrees. That's what my basement is all the time. The original gravity on the beer is actually, we're going to go with the, for the Krausen. If we're doing this with Krausen, for example, it would be 46. And the final gravity is 8. But that is not temperature corrected. Correct the gravity. Correct the gravity for the temperature. It's 0.008. Temperature is 68 degrees, and my hygrometer is calibrated at 60. So I'm at 0.009, which is about what I expected, but I just wanted to verify that before I got too far along. So we're going to make this 9. And Gyle needed is 1.95 quarts. Okay, so you can figure that out in ounces or whatever. Now, because we are actually doing this with a Krausen, the Krausen is actually at 40. So that's actually 41. So we're going to change this to Krausen. I'm going to change this to 41. Update, and we're at 1.9 quarts. So you see that you need a slightly less. It's not a big difference. That the Krausen didn't drop as far as I expected it to, but it's definitely, the yeast is definitely working. 1.9 quarts comes out to almost 61 ounces, 60.8 or something like that. And I'm not going to worry about the 0.8. I'll just go right with 61. I said if I end up, at 2.01 or 2.5 even, I'm not going to be upset. I'm sure it's going to be nowhere near 2.5. Okay, so this is a quart measuring cup. So we got 32. And 29. Close enough. Alright. And like I said, if I had left this other 3 gallons in there, I would have used, probably almost another quart. Most of the quart there, they're close to a quart anyways. This is beer. I mean, you can put an airlock on it, let it finish fermenting. You could freeze it and kill the yeast in it and store it for another time. Mix it with another, make some kind of a blended beer or something if you like. Alright, so and now this is just needs a little stir. Get all those yeasties and everything mixed in with the beer. That should be sufficient. We're going to get ourselves 5 gallons out of here, and we'll bottle. Get my bottles up, and then I'll put the rest. I should probably have about another ½ gallon or so to put into that keg. That's all it does. That's all it takes. I mean, it's pretty simple. You got to do a little forethought there. You got to remember to make a little extra beer for your Gyle or your Krausen, and you got to, if you're going to do a Krausen, you got to remember to take it out the day before and put some yeast in it. But all in all, it's pretty straightforward. And the real advantage to this is the exact same beer as that. It's not going to change the flavor that one little bit. It's got the same hops, the same malt. Everything's exactly the same between the two. So the beer that's going to be done when it's finished is the way it was intended. Enjoy. Cheers.